Hello, welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers. I am your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
And we're doing more StatCast shit. So Get ready for that.
Yep, sorry for missing you guys last week, but I need the money, so I chose to work instead of spending time with Josh, which is something I should do more often because, you know, rewards and everything. It's kind of nice.
You can feel very free to lick my balls.
I will, which I'm sure our last podcast host actually did.
Oh, dude, that's... Oh, no, that's not good.
Sorry. I did listen to the episode, and I haven't finished it yet. I listened to the first half an hour, and I already think that Kel's a better host than I am, so sorry, guys. I will say I have 3 issues.
What are your issues?
1, you and Kel clearly are way too into each other because she does not call you out on your bullshit.
There was no bullshit administered. Zero.
You complained. This leads me directly into my second complaint about how you complained that a girl with cancer likes the St. Louis Blues too much for her age.
No. You missed the point. My point was I don't like the media use of the word. Like I said, she didn't do nothing wrong. She was just a girl who loves hockey. I respect the hell out of that.
But you're saying that
the
even
use of this one word.
But it's the fact that you think that people who don't have full-time jobs and responsibilities can't be super fans?
All right, now you're being reductionist, but I see your point.
Like, all right, this bitch, that's how I'm going to refer to her now because I'm way deep into this. This bitch has cancer. Got nothing to do all day other than sit around, watch hockey, and have cancer. Obviously, she's going to watch a shit ton of hockey. She's going to know all the ins and outs. She's going to know exactly what kind of haircut Patrick Maroon gets or the size of his left shoe compared to his right and all the little nitty-gritty details that I used to know when I had nothing to do with my time or life. So I would still refer to that as a super fan.
We disagree.
Yeah, all right, whatever. And then number 3 was about, like, kids shouldn't be allowed to like the Golden State Warriors if they're not from the West Coast.
Again, I think you're being a bit reductionist with what my point was.
But, like,
there.
what you were saying is, like, oh, like, parents who allow their kids to watch the Golden State Warriors and be fans of them, like, don't love them because they don't drive them to New York to watch basketball games.
You go to Philly, you go to whatever state you're
I'm just saying, like, you know this as well as I do, like, fucking gone. It's expensive to take little kids to, like, sporting events because
basketball is cheap. Unless it's the Knicks. The Knicks are expensive year-round for no reason. They're a terrible team.
Still, like, regardless, like, when you and I started growing up, you were drawn to the Yankees, one, because the family ties, and also because the Yankees are really fucking good and really fun to watch, and it's easy to get into a sport when you're watching good teams.
No, I know.
So, like, when kids are fans of the Golden State Warriors, it's like, you know what? They have a love for a sport that maybe I don't share with them, but they're building up a love for a game, and that should be fine. We should encourage kids to want to watch basketball, even if it is just the best team that's the easiest to watch and most fun to watch.
No, my point isn't that the kids were wrong. Again, it's that the parents were wrong.
The parents were wrong for letting their kids watch good basketball.
The parents are wrong for not embracing their kids' hobby outside of opening their wallet just for jerseys and hats. Open your wallet for tickets to the events, and that's because going to the games for your local team is what typically fosters, or having an affiliation from your parents fosters an actual fandom.
Like, I don't disagree with...
And if you're not doing that, then the chances are your kids is just watching highlights and primetime games, which is going to be the best teams. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that if your kid's a Golden State Warriors fan, it's probably as a result of them wanting to be involved in basketball, which is great, I guess. And that's what they're going to be exposed the most to. They're going to be exposed to the top seeded teams, the best teams.
Right, but I don't think we should take away from the fact that, you know, some parents still love their kids and want them to love basketball to, you know, the greatest extent that they can. And the Nets fucking suck.
The Nets are good this year.
Come on.
They made the playoffs.
But they're not good. They had D'Lo, and that's pretty much it.
They made the playoffs.
Yeah, but everybody makes the playoffs in basketball.
Knicks didn't make the playoffs.
Well, the Knicks were exceptionally bad this year.
Yeah, they won, what, like 12 games?
No, they won like 3.5.
Oh, Jesus. The Knicks are bad.
Regardless.
Yeah. All right.
We both have different strategies for raising kids. And honestly, we're probably both wrong.
No, I'm going to be right. I've worked with kids for like 10 years. I know how to handle them.
So have I, motherfucker. Doesn't mean you know how to raise them.
You have not.
What are you talking about?
What job do you have that you work with kids?
Not currently. I go to Penn State. I'm not allowed near kids.
Yeah, that's a good point. Are you ready to get into today's topic?
Yeah, might as well.
All right.
I just missed arguing with you.
Yeah, I know.
It's been too long.
Has it, though?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So, what did I just do? Oh, yeah. I wanted to look at a few different things because, honestly, I made this topic up. I guess that makes sense since I make up all the topics. So I really just, this is an amalgamation
Nice
of just
word.
sheer nonsense and things that I was wondering about.
These usually are the best episodes.
Yeah, and the topics don't pertain to each other at all.
Perfect.
Yeah, so let's just dive on in. So the first thing I wanted to look at was barrels because I feel like that's what's the word I'm looking for? It's a talking point.
What kind of barrels? Wine barrels? Whiskey barrels?
You ain't cute.
I know.
You know, it's one of those words you hear all the time in like baseball analytics now is barrels, which is it's the sweet spot of launch angle and exit velocity that like most often leads to at least an extra base hit, at most a home run.
Not specifically the section on the bat called the barrel.
Well, that's where you'd have to hit it to get that type of reaction.
So it's that added on to perfect velocity.
That's how
and
it got
angle.
the name, is what I'm going to assume.
Gotcha.
I'm going to assume that because like you can't hit a ball well enough on like the cone of the bat to get a barrel. Like you just can't.
Right.
Because there's just it's not a strong part of the bat. It's not the strong part of your swing. Like there's just everything is wrong with it. Mm-hmm. So I'd assume that because you do have to hit the barrel of the barrel of the bat to obtain a barrel, is like that's how it's spread more so.
I feel you.
Me?
Yeah, I feel you.
So I want to look at it from a pitcher's perspective and a hitter's perspective because what I was wondering was, and I feel pretty safe to assume that I'm right about this.
As you always do, you know.
Oh, this one is like really like you should get this one right. Is that as barrels go up by team, I looked at this at a team level. As barrels go up, how does slugging percent go, and how do home runs go?
Okay.
Which again, that's what I'm saying. Like this should be, this felt very straightforward. That would be a yes. As barrels increase, so will slugging and home runs. And for the most part, I'd say that pretty much on the fucking nose. So so the way that Baseball Savant does it is that they show you the total number of barrels a team has had. They also have the total number of pitches a team has faced, and then they show you a percent of the pitches that were taken for barreled hits. So the team with the most barrels will be a very unsurprising list of teams for most hard hit, well hit balls.
Is it the Yankees?
They are number 7 on this list.
Okay.
Or number 6. It's Minnesota.
Who's been hitting the ever-loving shit out of the ball this year.
Atlanta.
Makes sense. Yep, makes sense.
Boston. Seattle. Okay. Tampa Bay. And the Yankees.
I'm actually surprised that Seattle is still that high.
Yeah, well, I think it's because Seattle loses most of their games, but they actually do score a lot of runs. It just so happened that like in the beginning of the season they were winning games like 10-1, and
right.
now they're losing games like 9-15.
Right.
Like they're just bad. But their
fielding is awful.
I'm honestly astonished by it.
It's amazing how a team of professionals can be that bad at defense.
Yeah, that's
it's like a team of Clint Frazier,
who's just been sent down by the Yanks.
Is that a trade move?
I guess this will actually be kind of old hat by the time this episode comes out. We're recording this on Monday the 17th. I genuinely don't know. I think if I was the GM of the Yankees with only the knowledge I have right now and none of the knowledge Brian Cashman has, I would say no.
Okay.
Unless, like, you get someone crazy good starting pitcher with, like, several, at least 2 years of control.
So, like, you wouldn't, like, okay.
I wouldn't trade Clint Frazier for Madison Bumgarner for shit. Like, that would be an awful trade in my mind because you only get Bumgarner for the remainder of this season.
Right.
Not that he would even agree to come here, but
I think he would.
He listed the Yankees on his no-trade clause.
I think it's something that, let's start this sentence over because I clearly dove off a cliff. I think that's something where the Yankees could definitely negotiate that with him. I feel like his absolute denial of the Yankees is more negotiating than it is him hating the Yankees to that extent.
Well, he listed pretty much every team that would be in contention this season, so I think his rationale was, I'm going to put down all of the teams that would realistically want to trade for me,
right? So
that I cannot be traded because the Detroit Tigers are not going to trade for him because they're bad and they have no reason. But regardless, I think they want him to be their long-term solution at left. The only thing that could change that, though, is let me start this over again. I don't know how it works between him and Estevan Florial, the Yankees' #1 hitting prospect.
Is he back from injury yet?
I'm not sure. I haven't checked up on him for a while.
I'll look it up while you go on.
Okay, because if you think about the Yankees' outfield, they have Judge, who is still on his rookie deal, but they will certainly be giving an extension to. Aaron Hicks, who just signed a 7-year contract this season. Not that they have to have him for all 7 years, but he would be on the books for 7 years if they chose to keep him there. And they have Giancarlo Stanton for another 8 years, I think, 9 years if he doesn't opt out anywhere in between.
Right.
And so one of Estevan Florial or Clint Frazier would be the fourth outfielder, just by sheer talent of the dudes above them. Possibly with Aaron Hicks moving to the fourth outfield role if he really declines that much.
Mm-hmm.
But all 5 of them, I don't think they would keep. I think someone goes. And I'm just not sure that they're ready to move on either one of them this season to see if, if Estevan Florial is ready for the majors next season, or if Giancarlo Stanton opts out at some point, or if Hicks gets bad. I think they would want to wait.
Right. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So Estevan Florial came back 7 days ago now, and has been coming back with some pretty good numbers. So we'll see. But again, I mean, I don't think the Yankees would really, looking at this long term and not solely for the next year or two, I don't think they could think about moving Frazier for anyone but another young player until they see Florial in the majors. Just there's no reason for them to want to get rid of the depth that they can easily afford to maintain. There's no reason for the Yankees to really rush to sell their farm to put it all in this year just because they're already tops in the majors or right there. I mean, I think they have the 3rd or 4th best record.
I want to say 4th.
Yeah, I think they were tied with 4th yesterday with the Rays, actually. But regardless, I don't think they will move him unless it's for a ace level pitcher, and I don't think that is a deal that could get done.
No. So I looked at, just to bring it back to our topic, I looked at the slugging percents and then the OPS plus of each of these of all these teams as well. I put one of these teams' OPS plus in here wrong because Texas certainly does not have a 9 OPS plus as a team. I'm sure that they're better than that.
Yeah, clearly they just mixed up the Orioles and the Rangers.
The Orioles made me laugh. The Orioles. So because I did this as hitting and pitching, it was the same stat, just with
different sides
different sides, and I would use the Orioles to figure out which end of this I was on. Because if they had a really high number of barrels, I knew it was the pitching, and if they had a really low number of barrels, then I knew it was the hitting.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it worked out really well for me.
The Orioles being benchmark for the lowest possible end of the spectrum is fantastic.
I just want to get Texas's slugging percent or OPS plus right real quick because I feel bad it only says 9. That's not true. It's 99, which is probably why I fucked it up.
So I was reading Moneyball the other day, and I never realized that the person who came up with OPS and like started using it as like an actual real life stat was Paul DePodesta of the A's.
Yeah,
that's wild. That's that's cool seeing like guys in positions like he is coming up with these kind of analytics.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much seeing all the guys who trailblazed current baseball's use of sabermetrics still being in the game doing some shit, you know?
That's awesome.
But so, yeah, the Minnesota Twins, who lead the league in barrels, have a .515 slugging percent with a 126 OPS plus as a team, which is fucking crazy. Atlanta has a .459 slugging percent with a 104 OPS plus. Boston, a .450 slugging percent with a 107 OPS plus. Seattle, .451 slugging percent with a 110 OPS plus. Tampa Bay, .439 slugging percent with 107 OPS plus. And the Yankees with a .448 slugging percent with a 107 OPS plus. So the team with the highest percent of pitches that were taken for barreled hits is Minnesota, Atlanta, Boston, Tampa, and New York.
Same order.
Seattle dropped out of the list. That was about it.
Oh, who moved up then?
Tampa and New York.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, no. Minnesota being at the top with a 1.97% of pitches seen being hit for being barreled shots. So it really, we're talking very small numbers here.
Right.
But it goes to show that having 1.97% of these pitches as compared to the bottom team, which is Miami, with, well, actually that's pretty big, 0.99%.
Holy shit.
Yeah, their team slugging percent is 0.348. Slugging.
Oh my god.
78 OPS plus.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's fucking bad.
Put me in single A and I might be able to hit that.
Pittsburgh and Baltimore are then tied for the next lowest with 1.01%. Although Pittsburgh's OPS plus is 93, which isn't awful.
So I have an idea for a future topic. I know you asked me to think of football ones, but here's a baseball one because fuck it. I want us to break down how we think we could fix the Pirates.
Actually, that'd be a good series.
Yeah, I would love to do that. What was the other series we were talking about doing? Oh, draft breakdowns.
Yeah, we do need to get back on that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to write that down because we always need to write these things down.
That's a good one. I made a little graph. As you can see, it's pretty fucking obvious that as your percent of pitches that are hit for barrels goes up, your OPS plus also goes up. It is easily the most obvious trend we've seen in any graph I put together in this show.
I'm assuming that's Minnesota all up there by themselves. That's wild.
Yeah, it really shows how far and away the best they are at this. So now to look at this in terms of pitching. So it's the same. It's so funny because I didn't think about it until I did it. It's the same number of barrels.
Yeah.
You know, it's the exact. It's just the distribution. You know.
Of course. Yeah.
So now instead of being distributed by what teams hit the most, it's now going to be distributed by what teams fuck up the most, pitching-wise.
When you set this up, did you have a tally of how many total barrels there were when you did all the hitting? And then did you go back and do the same thing for pitching?
Of course
and
I
then
did.
just were awestruck by the fact that those numbers were the same?
I wasn't awestruck. I was just disappointed in myself.
Yeah, okay. All right. There's really only two ways that could have gone.
So, Corwin.
Yes.
What team do you think has given up the most barreled balls this season?
Well, if we're going to strike out outliers, honestly, I would probably say I would say the Pirates are probably second lowest, but
Pittsburgh's actually very middle of the pack here.
Really?
Very middle of the pack.
Okay. When are these numbers from?
This is from today.
Okay. All right. So I guess we were doing much better because the past couple days have been real brutal for the Bucks, but Baltimore's obviously very
it's Baltimore.
low on this
It's
list.
so far and away Baltimore. It's yeah. Second is Seattle. So Baltimore has given up 193 barreled balls. Seattle is second. They've given up 186. Then Detroit at 174, and a tie between Colorado and Philadelphia at 161. Oh, and Toronto also tied at 161.
I'm surprised Toronto's up there.
I'm most surprised, I think, by Philly and Colorado. They are the only two teams I just read that have winning records and are both in wildcard races.
Because they play in Coors Fields. Phillies I am surprised about, but I knew they were getting shellacked this year. I didn't realize how badly they were.
Yeah, it's been rough. As a percent of total pitches, it's pretty much the exact same teams. Baltimore, Detroit, Seattle, Cleveland now enters this list.
Oof.
As well as Philly, Colorado, and Toronto. The number of home runs given up.
It's Baltimore.
It really doesn't change too much, but there is a little bit of movement here. It's still Baltimore. It's still Seattle. Then it's the Angels, the Phillies, the White Sox, the Tigers. I'm just going to keep going because it's an interesting top 10. The Padres, the Astros, the Yankees, and then the Rangers and the Blue Jays.
What?
Yeah. So it seems what I'm getting. It's tough because I was about to say what I'm getting out of this is that like if you're one of like these teams like San Diego, Houston, and New York, if you're giving up a barrel ball, it's going for a home run. But these are raw home run numbers, not rate home run numbers. So the fact that those three in order, San Diego, Houston, and New York Yankees are giving up respectively 104, 104, 103 home runs, which isn't anywhere near the top of this list given that Baltimore is just so far and away, but is still 7, 8, and 9 on this list is kind of surprising.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Like,
his
I think
field
I'm most surprised by the Astros just because their pitching is so fucking dominant, game in, game out. That might be like a park thing, but I don't know.
I have to think this might be a park thing because the Astros ballpark is relatively hitter friendly. Yankees ballpark is hitter friendly. And Petco, is that big or small? I don't remember.
Petco is what team's Petco?
Padres.
I think that's a hitter's or a pitcher's park.
Oh, then that's even weirder. It's on this list. Although I guess the Padres have had a little rough go of things recently, though, especially with the series with Colorado. Even though that was in Colorado, it still was the most combined runs ever for a 4-game series. So, and it's not telling, or it's very telling that these ERAs are also damn near identical. We do have a little bit of movement once again, but our top ERAs in terms of worst ERAs is Baltimore with a 5.68 team ERA, Seattle with a 5.34, Chicago White Sox with a 5.29, Pittsburgh now enters the list at 5.12, Kansas City now enters this list at 5.07, Los Angeles, Cincinnati, Texas, Detroit, and Toronto wrap up the top 10.
So Petco Park is rated as the second most pitcher-friendly park in baseball.
What's first most? Dodger Stadium?
It only goes to 29, so I don't know. Never mind. I don't know.
No, there's 30 ballparks.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, like, does a team share it with another team? But no. I don't know why it only goes to 29.
That is, well, I guess I could ask you which one isn't listed, but that sounds like a chore to keep track of. But anyway, so here's ERA as compared to barrel balls. And you'll once again see that it's pretty fucking obvious as the barrel balls percent of your total pitches goes up, as does your ERA.
Not as visible there of what the trend line is, but it's very simple to make out.
Yeah, it's right there. So then I thought of just doing a fun one. This is very stupid. Are you ready?
Yes. Should I lean over and look, or should I stay surprised?
Stay a little bit surprised. All right. I wanted to look at pitchers hitting a little bit.
Pitchers hitting?
Pitchers hitting. So 2018 National League pitcher hitting, because I wanted a lot of data.
Okay.
How many hits? How many hits do you think National League pitchers got last season?
I want to say it's going to end up being like 150.
Okay, so it's way more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I had to take a second guess, 350?
It's still more than that.
Really?
Yeah, you're really shortchanging. You're shortchanging what is the worst offensive position in baseball, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, like the amount of times, it's hard for me to look and see any more than like maybe a hit per series for pitchers, just because they're fucking useless.
Yeah, there's 445 hits last season by NL pitchers.
Okay.
I don't have
Do you know how many hits total for last year?
For last year? Oh, dude, so many. Thousands.
I'm going to look it up.
Like, literally thousands.
I'm looking it up.
So, I really wasn't sure what I was looking for on this, although I did end up finding something that I've often heard, but I guess now I got to confirm, is that I'd always, like, the rhetoric has always been amongst pitchers I hear talk about this kind of stuff, is that when you're a pitcher pitching, facing a pitcher batting, the courteous thing to do is just throw fastballs, because you know that the pitcher hitting ain't going to be able to hit it anyway, and it's one of your most basic throwing motions, so it's like not a lot of stress on you. You have to throw your hardest fastball, like it's your most natural throwing motion. And so now I got to see kind of like how that goes. I guess just in terms of hits. So
before we go into that, I want you to guess how many hits there were in total in baseball last year.
9,000.
No.
Tell me.
42,215.
See, that's what I'm saying. It was so much.
Damn, that's like 0.01% of total hits.
Yeah, no, pitchers are really bad at hitting.
What was it? 445?
445.
Divided by 42, I don't know, it was like 215, something like that. Yep, 0.0105%.
1.05%, but yeah.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm a math major.
Are you?
No.
Okay. So it's actually kind of an interesting spread of pitches that pitchers have got hits on last season. List of pitchers making the list. We had 16 hits on changeups last year.
Interesting.
24 hits on curveballs.
I'm actually more surprised that there was there less for changeups than curveballs?
Yes.
That's weird. I would think that would be very drastically the opposite.
Give me a second, because
you're
going to hear one pitch hit on an ephus, which I think is hilarious.
If the pitcher wasn't Zach Greinke, I'm going to be upset.
It probably was. So for anyone who doesn't know, an ephus is you didn't try. The ephus is like you just kind of like chucked the ball. It goes like 50, 60 miles an hour tops. It's not a curveball, even though it has this big loop. It's literally, the idea is that it's so bad, it throws the batter off, and they don't know how to handle like the extra time and the fact it's just kind of lobbed in there.
I wouldn't say it's a bad, like it's drastically a bad pitch.
It's meant to be a bad
slow pitch.
No, it's meant to be a bad pitch.
But like if it's a bad pitch, it's going to go anywhere. It's still accurate. It's still in the strike zone. It's still over the plate.
I would disagree, because I think lots of good pitches leave the strike zone. And some would say that's the point of some good pitches. Yeah, the ephus is meant. When I say bad pitch, it doesn't move in any fancy way. Even the knuckleball moves in a fancy way.
I mean, it's like still it's an arc, but it's not like a tight break or anything.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a pitch. It's a throw.
Right.
It's not a good. It's a.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't take skill when you're playing catch in the backyard.
We're
all throwing ephuses.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got its name because someone threw one in a game, and this dude someone asked him. I forget all the names in all of my stories, but someone asked him, like, what kind of pitch was that you threw to that batter? And the guy said, that's an ephus. And the guy was like, what's an ephus? And he goes, it ain't shit. And that pitch ain't shit. 20 hits off of cutters, 2 hits off of splitters, 62 hits off of two-seam fastballs.
Invented by a Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher.
Yeah. Yep. 7 hits off of knuckle curveballs, 45 hits off of sinkers, 51 hits off of sliders, and 214 hits off of four-seam fastballs.
Huh. Those numbers are surprising for sure.
Well, that kind of falls in line with the anecdotes I've always heard. That accounts for 48% of total pitches hit. The only other pitches that break 10% are the two-seam fastballs, which are still a fastball, sinkers, which are still a fastball, and sliders, which is the only, I guess you can call breaking ball on this this list.
I mean, I would be totally fine grouping together all of the four-seam, two-seam, and sinkers together just as arguably like fastballs. And still, like, that's what, 60, 70%?
Yeah, if you add them all together, let's look at the ones that aren't fastballs. We have the knuckle curve, which is not a fastball. We have the ephus and the curveball that aren't fastballs, and the changeup is an off-speed pitch that's thrown like a fastball. So, it's just a lot of fastballs, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, and it's like, oh, you know, if you switch it up with pitchers more often, you know, they're not going to be able to vary their swing speeds and all that and be able to hit it. But at the same time, it's, why do you care? It's, you know, unless it's like Thor, Madison Bumgarner, or Max Scherzer, why even put any thought into what you throw pitchers?
The hardest hit ball by a pitcher last season.
Oh, fuck me.
How hard?
I'm going to say it was like 95.
110.5 miles an hour.
Oh, God. Was it Thor or...
No,
was it Max
You're not going to
Scherzer?
get this.
No? Okay.
Jeffrey Rodriguez.
The fuck?
Jeffrey Rodriguez. Yep. Wow. It was a single. It was a ground ball. It had a negative 18 launch angle.
Negative 18.
Yep, went straight down. And, Jeffrey Rodriguez. Yep. As we all would have predicted.
Do you have breakdowns of like home runs, triples, doubles, stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. Let's see what happened here. Let's look at home runs. Oh, there's not a lot. There are 16. Miles Michaelis hit one. Zach Eflin, AJ Cole, Cole Hamels, Clayton Richard. I always want to say Richard. Herman Marquez, Carlos Martinez, Miles Michaelis again, John Gant, Steven Matz, John Lester, Anthony Descalfani, Jake Arrieta, John Gant again, Julio Teheran, and Steven Matz again. Yeah.
We jinxed.
Yeah, we should, yeah. There's a decent bit of hits there.
Can you look up triples?
I don't think there were any. Oh, it's on here. Was there a triple hit by a pitcher last season?
Oh!
Ranger Suarez, don't know who that is. Daniel Ponce de Leon, don't know him. And Tanner Roark are now.
Ponce de Leon pitches for the Cardinals now.
I can't believe these launch speeds.
He's the guy that got hit in the head.
Oh, he's that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Hit a triple, though, so he's got that going for him.
Listen to these triple speeds,
which is nice.
Ranger Suarez's triple was hit 90.7 miles an hour.
Smoker, all right.
Daniel Ponce de Leon's hit triple 78.1.
Yeah, okay, that's some errors in there.
Tanner Roark's triple 67.3 miles per hour off the bat. How do you get a triple?
Thanks for trying, pal.
There must have been some wheels involved in this.
Yeah, yikes.
So, how many hits do you think American League pitchers got last season?
I'll go back to my 150 count.
Okay, what's funny is that it's now actually astronomically higher than it is.
Really?
28.
I mean, I guess I want to know how many of them were pinch hits, just for like extra innings when they needed pitchers to hit.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Because it's actually funny because Jay Happ actually pinch hit for the Yankees this season because they needed a guy to lay down a bunt and they were in a National League ballpark, so they pinch hit Jay Happ, which is hysterical.
They did that with Jack Flaherty last week.
Yeah?
This past week.
Yeah, so I'm sure it happened. I've seen Max Scherzer get a pinch hit RBI. So, like, it definitely happens.
So, on this Flaherty one, someone hit, like, a double, and he was on first, and they send him to run home from third, and the ball was at the plate roughly 15 feet before he got there.
Nice.
And he just did the most embarrassingly, like, unathletic slide into home. That's
good.
Like, he came to a stop before he got to the plate. It was bad.
So, who do you think has the hardest hit ball for the American League pitchers. See, I didn't even count like I did for the other one.
Yeah.
There was just no point. But who do you think is the hardest hit ball?
American League pitchers, fucking, I don't know.
He leads the American League in pitchers WAR this season by Baseball Reference WAR.
Oh, was it Mike Minor?
Mike Minor hit a 105.1 mile per hour. I think it was just a single. Double.
Why have we
double.
been making fun of this man for so long?
It's only you. I defended him in that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a hilarious list because the only 4 pitchers broke 100 miles per hour on their hits last season in the American League. Mike Minor, Heath Fillmeyer.
No idea who that is.
Not a clue. Brian Johnson, who I'm not sure is still in the league, and Sam Gaviglio.
Yeah, I don't know those people.
Sam Gaviglio is with the Blue Jays. That's the only reason I know who he is. 3 doubles and a single. Yeah, ain't that some shit?
That's some wild shit, man.
Yeah, the pitcher
Fuck
who's
the DH, am I right?
pitcher with the most hits in the American League last year. Who do you got?
What was that?
American League pitchers with the most hits last year.
Fucking, I don't know.
Rick Porcello.
Why?
Because if I recall correctly, they had a series. I want to say couldn't have been in San Diego because they played San Diego this season. But there was one National League series in there somewhere where Porcello just cleaned house.
Really?
Like he went like 3 for 4 that day. It was insane. Yeah. Yeah, actually, they have the dates on here. There's oh no, it's actually 3 completely different games. I was full of shit, but yeah, he did it.
Josh, way to go!
I lied, and
what else is new?
Ain't nothing y'all bitches can do about it.
You're right. We could do literally nothing.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. What else do you want to talk about? I have something.
Okay.
I have another thing. I was looking at out of the zone strikeouts for batters, and just curious as to what it looked like.
Right.
I don't really have anything for this, but so I'm looking at strikeouts on pitches out of the zone. Okay.
These are 4 pitchers, correct?
Huh?
Like, are these pitchers?
No, batters who struck out.
Okay.
From out of the zone pitches.
Okay. Gotcha.
So there was just for setting up for the audience. There's 2 strikes on, and the batter gets called or is out on strike somehow.
Right.
Out of all these attempts, I'm going to do a quick sum and I did that in the wrong spot. Anyway, I'm trying to type this with one hand. 9,554 strikeouts on 2 strikes out of the zone. 967 of them were called. 18 were foul bunts, which I have to assume is pitchers. 433 are actually foul tips. That's probably foul tips that went straight back into the catcher's glove, which basically is just a swinging strike 3 in my mind. 11 missed bunts, which I'm assuming means that they were squared up for a bunt and then didn't actually go for the bunt and then got called out on strikes, which seems exceedingly specific.
And also hilarious.
Yes, very much. I can't imagine squaring for a bunt on with 2 strikes on, which means if you don't make it, it is strike 3, and then not even trying to bunt and then getting called out on strikes. That is fucking amazing. And then swinging strikes. 8,125, making up for 85.04% of all strikeouts on pitches out of the zone.
Which is fucking fantastic.
Now, if you think about it, that makes sense because the fact that 10.12% of strikeouts on balls out of the zone were called. Think about that for a second. It was out of the zone and a called strike 3.
But you also have to remember, there's a big caveat here. This isn't what is recorded on like the little box on the screen of where it should have been and what it should have been called. It's what was actually called. So I'm assuming almost all of them were either on the corner or in the zone, and then the ump just fucking sucks.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, the ump completely. There have been.
I thought you were blaming the batters for always taking a bunch of pitches.
No. I'm blaming the
Okay.
umps.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
blaming
no,
the
no.
fact. I'm blaming the umps for the fact that there's so far this season 967 not called strikes out of the zone, called strikeouts out of the zone.
Did you see the video on Reddit today of a Little League umpire ejecting a catcher for complaining about a strike call that was very clearly a ball?
No, but can I tell you my worst experience when I played Little League?
All right, you tell
as a
that.
catcher?
I'm gonna look up this video.
Actually, I wasn't catching. I was batting. I was played catcher because I was a cool kid. Yeah. Anyway, I was batting, and the pitcher threw the ball well in front, like 2 feet in front of the plate, just spiked it, and it bounced up into the catcher's mitt. And my home plate ump called it a strike. And I looked back at him and said, it hit the dirt. And he looks at me and he shrugs and he goes, you still could have hit it. And I'm like, but it hit the dirt. And so later that at bat I get a hit because I was really good at baseball. That's not true.
Of course.
And I go over to first base and I'm talking to the first baseman because, it's Little League. Like, it's all just kids from around your neighborhood. And I remember looking at him and I was like, this ump is terrible. The first baseman looks at me and goes, that's my dad. And I was just like, ooh. I'm going to not talk to you anymore. Yeah. So I guess that it makes sense that like the vast majority are swinging strikes. And like I didn't think about that going in because they're strikeouts out of the zone. So like why shouldn't they be swinging strikes? It should honestly be higher. Like it should honestly be like 95% of strikeouts were swinging strikes, with the remaining 5% being all like the weird foul bunts and foul tips and missed bunts, with like 1% being called strikes. Because, I'll give you, if you tell me that umps were 99% accurate, I'll give you that. I think that'd be enough for most fans to be okay with not having robo-umps. 99% accurate.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would be totally 99% accurate would be so far and above any other referee or umpire in any other sport.
Yeah.
It would be hard to have any argument against that.
And what's crazy is that these numbers are probably what the MLB is going to use for whenever they have to discuss matters with the umpires union, because Baseball Savant is directly taken from StatCast, which is MLB's statistical arm. It's not like it's an independent company. Baseball Savant is, but its numbers. Baseball Savant is the platform that StatCast uses to give casual fans access to their data. It is 100% the MLB's official data source. So the fact that MLB basically is going to sit here and say that 10.12% of strikeouts this season on pitches out of the zone were called strikes, called out of the zone by umpires, kind of damning.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Suck. That's really all we got to say about that.
Yeah, umps do suck. Yeah, that is all there is to say.
Did you see today? Angel Hernandez tried to stop his subpoena because the MLB was like, all right, let's just show all of his performance reviews, call statistics, all this shit that shows that he's just a really shitty ump.
For the uninitiated,
and he just goes, no, it's fine, fam. We're good here.
For the uninitiated, Angel Hernandez is well regarded as being one of the 2 worst umps in baseball. Mm-hmm. Right there with C.B. Buckner, and Joe West can be put on that list too.
Joe West, I don't complain about Joe West about his balls and strikes. I complain
No,
because
he doesn't insert himself into the game too much usually. When he does, it's noticeable, but it's never usually too bad. But Angel Hernandez is famous for making terrible calls and being a humongous cock about it. And he's alleging that because he doesn't get a lot of playoff games anymore or playoff series, that it's racism by the MLB because he is a Hispanic man and they're not giving him playoff series and World Series because he is Hispanic. And I guess in reference to that, the MLB tried to pull up his his performances, and Angel didn't like that because that did not fit his narrative.
How dare you hate me for being bad at my job?
He was one of the umps for the Yankees Red Sox series ALDS last season, and he had 3 overturned calls in 1 inning.
Yeah, that's basically his claim to fame, other than this shitty court case.
He is atrocious in every way, as a human being, as an umpire, and as an ambassador to the sport of baseball. Can lick my nuggets.
You're not wrong.
You got anything else to say about anything we talked about today?
No. I just want to say I've been searching for this video for like 7 minutes now, and Reddit's search function is so astronomically bad that it's impossible to find a post from today with all of the details and what subreddit it was on. So, fuck it.
It's a damn shame.
It is. I'm not going to give up, but
you should.
But I should, for sure.
All right, then let's get out of here.
Peace.
Oh, well, if you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. If you want to hit us up via email, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And if you want to find our show notes for this episode and all previous episodes, you can do so at juicingthenumbers.wixsite.com/website. And until Monday, y'all have a good one.